This 16-year-old boy goes to his friend's house frequently when he often clashes with his family and feels lonely. As a result, he became very close to his friend's family, especially his friend's mother. One day, as usual, this 16-year-old boy clashed with his family and went to his friend's house nearby at night. There, he and his friend talked together about what happened and slept there. In the morning, his friend's mother woke them both up to go to school. But the strange boy said that he felt sick and didn't want to go to school, so he went back to sleep. A few minutes after the friend went to school, this boy went to the friend's mother's room. "Hello, my dear family. Today, I brought you the movie Nobody Home, which was released in 2013. Please, dear family, don't forget to like the video. Let's go to the movie without wasting time." Yes, the movie starts on the balcony. A boy and his sister are seated. "Where is his mother?" he asks his sister. "Yes, she is sleeping," she replies. Afterward, he attempts to drive the car after obtaining the key, but he lacks the necessary driving skills. When their mother hears the sound of the car, she becomes irate. She yells at them to stop as she swiftly chases after the vehicle. He knows his mother is going to beat him up for stealing her car, so he pulls off and flees. When they realize she is pursuing them, she begs Fairy, her older daughter, to bring a dealer home over the phone. She becomes so enraged that she decides to permanently sell the car. To sell that car, Fairy acquired a man's house who works at her office. When he was inspecting the car, Eric arrives there. As he checks his car, he becomes enraged. "How do you touch my car?" he asks. "What on earth are you doing?" "Don't be angry with me," said Joseph. "I was told to sell this car by your mother. Avoid arguing with me. Simply go speak with your mother." Because he misbehaved by telling his mother that she didn't have the authority to sell the automobile, Eric felt terrible about it. "The vehicle belongs to a family. You are unable to make choices on your own," he said. Eric struggled with anger management, which his mother was unable to manage. But she sold that car regardless of what he said. He goes to spend some time with his friend at his house. When his friend tries to rouse him up the following day, Eric ignores them. "Doesn't he have a place to go?" his mother asks. According to Fairy, he will give him some time. Mom, at the moment, he is very agitated. For a few days, he didn't even return home since he didn't want to speak to his mother. While he and his buddies were enjoying life and smoking cigarettes, his mother was worried about him. When his friend's mother was cleaning the house the following morning, Eric kept giving her strange looks. She didn't know what he was doing. In another room, he pursues her, seizes her, and makes her perform tasks for him. She couldn't believe what had occurred to her. It happened so quickly. Then he goes to a lake and sits by himself for a time, because he was still upset with his mother for overselling the car. Eric returns home later in the evening without a word. He heads directly to his room. Eric approaches his sister the following morning and says, "I need some money." But she responds, "I don't have any, so go to Mom and ask her." He didn't want to hear no, so he removes the cash from her pocketbook on his own. Despite her best efforts, she was unable to stop him. Eric was unsure of his life's purpose. He wasn't even prepared to assume his family's responsibilities. He then visits his friend's house. Barry is not at home, according to his mother. "Why are you here then?" But he remained silent. She was unwilling to speak with him. She goes to the kitchen and continues working. Because of this, Eric also pursues her and seizes her. He starts dating his friend's mother, but this time, she gives him permission. Joseph visits Fairy at her house in the interim. He was simply a really good buddy to her. However, he flirted with Fairy a little while he was speaking to her. She wondered why he was speaking to her in that manner, even though she remained silent. The two continued to converse for a very long time before he left the house. Eric sneaks out of there when he senses his friend is returning home, because he didn't want him to know that he was having an affair with his mother behind his back. But he still saw him. He follows him right away and asks, "Why are you leaving without speaking to me? What took place?" "I just don't feel like talking to anyone right now," says Eric. "I was going home for that reason," he explains. "All right, I'll see you later." Grandma prepared dinner for Eric when he got home, but because he was feeling down, he didn't eat it properly. A youngster lost in his own world. He was nice. He desired success, fortune, money, and everything else. He was crying from the first day without even trying because he had nothing and didn't even know where to begin to obtain what he desired. When Joseph asks Fairy out one day, she is unable to say no to him. He was a very nice friend after all. In addition to spending time with her, he takes her to a store to buy something for himself. In addition to being alone in her life, Fairy had no idea why she was even seeing a man 10 years her senior. Joseph asked her to marry him while they were conversing suddenly. When Fairy visits her house, she discusses it with her mother. "Mom," she continues, "I accepted Joseph's proposal of marriage." "Honey, he is not a good man for you," her mother replies, breaking down in tears. "It's not like you ever called him a bad man, Mom," according to Fairy. "He has always been a fine man in your eyes. But now that he wants to marry me, he suddenly decides that I am not a suitable fit. Mom, I don't give a damn what you think. I'm getting married to him in a few months, and he's a good man. According to her mother, you will either like it or not. Why the rush? What is your age? I am 32, she says. I ought to have married long ago. Eric attended Barry's birthday celebration at his friend's house. You haven't been coming to my home lately, his mother asks him. What's the matter? Are you no longer in need of me? I'm just busy with work and school, he explains. She was aware of his deceit, though. It was obvious to her that he became tired of her. She was only an elderly woman, after all. What prevented him from meeting her? Eric learns that his sister is getting married in 2 months when he returns home. After hearing this, he becomes quite irate, because nobody in that family was able to support themselves financially. The only one making money was Fairy. You need to be strong and responsible, she tells her brother. You have to provide for this family after I'm gone. However, her mother adds, let me handle it. Your brother lacks the courage to make a living on his own, so I will continue to provide for them like I always have. Eric is so offended that he leaves and heads straight to his friend's mother. However, he notices her spouse is at home. Didn't I tell you my husband is coming home? She begins to pretend. I really apologize, says Eric. I came to see Barry. Is he away from home? No, she says. Joseph has been dropping Fairy off at home every day, as we can see. In the interim, Fairy didn't like it when he kissed her in the car one day. Then she turned to leave because she didn't want to marry him. We can see her crying and brushing her teeth at night. However, she was already 32 and powerless. How could she? Fairy was never able to find a suitable companion. On the day of her engagement, a few weeks later, her mother became very ill. Joseph claimed she had to take him to the hospital. My brother, uncle, father, and mother are all en route to our engagement. We can't delay our engagement at this time, she explains. I am aware, he says. When her mother was trying to talk to her about how to handle the engagement party, she let her speak. Fairy, you are aware that you have been unlucky since birth. You seem to have a bad mood and are unable to interact with me today, her mother says. However, she had no intention of delaying her marriage in any way. She gets engaged in front of her mother while she is at home. After the celebration, she tells her daughter, you know, it was feeling like you were going crazy to have a husband. In the party, it appeared that you didn't want to be married, especially to a man who is 10 years older than you. After hearing her taunt, Fairy feels so horrible that she breaks the plate she was holding in her hand and leaves. The fact that Fairy was getting married did not bother her mother. The fact that she would no longer receive her monthly salary made her unhappy. In the household, Fairy was the only one making money. Now, though, what could she do? Everybody eventually gets married. Her mother even attempted to dissolve their marriage because she was so angry. My daughter is not as good as you think, she informs Joseph. She never stops working and never arrives home on time. If you can locate her home on time even once a month, you're lucky. You could never be happy with her. Joseph is able to comprehend her actions. She is attempting to destroy our union, he claims. You don't have to worry about us because of this. Fairy has everything, so I'll get by. How a lady was needed by a man, he says. When Fairy returns home one day, she discovers Eric using drugs in his room. Why don't you understand? She becomes so enraged at him that she begins pounding him. While you're using drugs and I'm away, you have to provide for this family. Eric, wake up. You will be the only person responsible for looking after this family when I get married. Both of them start crying following this. The time had finally arrived for her to get married. Her mother was drinking while everyone else was having a good time because of her financial situation. She never wanted Fairy to get married. While everyone was dancing at the celebration, Fairy was aware of her mother's depression. When she is gone, who will look after her family? Her mother was present for her daughter's wedding. Fairy was too. However, some things in the world are destined to occur at some point. The movie ends here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.